Hi guys, I'm Libertman, forced to be alone but free to decide how to live it. Welcome to the second live stream of the day, and in this occasion we're talking about something that many men don't recognize in themselves because it doesn't look like sadness. It looks like coldness, like distance, to like I'm fine, to dismissal, or it seems like silence. But underneath the engine is often not anger, it's shame. And shame is not just feeling bad. Shame is the emotion that says, if they see the real me, my value drops. So when shame activates, men often do something that looks like emotional strength. They pull away. They convert vulnerability into distance. That's what I will try to break down in this episode by selecting a scientific paper titled "When the Social Self is Threatened, Shame, Physiology and Health" by Dickerson, Gruenewald and Kemeny. This paper focuses on shame as a response to what the author called social self-threats. That means rejection, social evaluation, humiliation, loss of status, being exposed as not enough. This is not a niche topic, because for men a huge amount of emotional pain is not processed as sadness. It is processed as threat to their identity. So the authors describe shame as a key response to social self-threats, such as social evaluation and rejection. That phrase, social self-threat, is the perfect frame for male psychology, because many men are not mainly afraid of sadness. They are afraid of being seen as weak, being judged as low value, being treated as disposable, losing respect, being pitied instead of admired. So when men feel hurt, the emotional system often routes it through shame. And shame has one main behavioral output: concealment. So why shame does not look like sadness? Sadness tends to invite closeness, comfort, being held, tenderness. Shame does the opposite. Shame drives hiding, avoidance, distancing, hostility or dismissal sometimes, and emotional flattening. This is the key idea for the live stream. Men don't always avoid emotions. Men often avoid exposure. The paper's program of research focuses on shame as an emotional response to social self-threats and links it to psychobiological patterns under those conditions. This matters because it means shame is not just in the head. It is an integrated state, emotional, cognitive, physiological. And that integrated state can become an habitual coping style that states, if I'm vulnerable, I'm in danger. If I feel, I'm exposed. If I reveal need, I lose standing. So men choose distance, not because they don't care, but because distance prevents humiliation. So now, since this live stream is inside what I have organized in the cross-cultural psychology playlist, we need to see the paper in this way. The paper is not a global meta-analysis. It's a strong framework for a universal mechanism. So across cultures, men face different scripts, right? But many cultures share the same core pressure, that a man is valued by how he holds up under evaluation. Different societies express it differently. Some with status-based honor cultures, achievement-focused capitalist cultures, collectivist shame cultures, or individualist performance cultures. But the mechanism remains recognizable. There is an evaluation threat followed by shame and produces concealment or avoidance. So you can speak cross-culturally without pretending the study sampled the whole planet. So let's have a look to this shame to distance conversion, this main mechanism. Let's try to break down the psychological chain that this mechanism is built on. First, a man feels hurt through rejections, through disrespect, through dismissal. Then the mind interprets it as a social evaluation. Then shame activates by saying, my social self is threatened. Then shame motivates concealment. Concealment becomes distance. And finally, distance becomes identity, a new identity that says, I don't need anyone. That's how shame replaces sadness. Sadness would seek repair, but shame seeks protection. And there's an invisible cost to this. Distance looks like safety, but in the long term, it costs intimacy, trust, motivation, emotional range, and even life meaning. Men often end up saying, I don't feel much anymore. And they call it peace, but many times it's not peace. It's avoidant stability. So, if this information so far is being helpful, please like this live stream, or if you're watching the replay video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That helps support this content and to continue making more videos. So, why shame is harder to heal than sadness? Sadness is relational. Sadness says, I'm hurt, I need comfort. But shame is evaluative. Shame says, if you see me like this, my value drops. This difference matters profoundly for men, because many men are not emotionally illiterate. They are evaluation sensitive. They are not avoiding feelings. They are avoiding exposure. And shame makes exposure feel dangerous. So why shame drives distance instead of closeness? Well, the authors frame shame as a response to threats to the social self. That would be a condition that motivates withdrawal, concealment, and protective distancing rather than approach. And this is the core mechanism of this live stream or video. When shame activates, closeness increases risk, and distance reduces risk. So men learn to say less, to show less, to need less, and to feel less. Not because they are cold, but because distance keeps dignity intact. And how this turns into an emotional style? Well, once distance works, it stabilizes, and men begin to describe themselves as being low maintenance, being emotionally independent, being not needy, being self-contained. These descriptions feel empowering, but they often mask a prior learning that vulnerability leads to loss of standing. So the emotional system recalibrates, not toward openness, but toward containment. And why others misread this as emotional maturity? Well, emotionally distant men are often praised. They don't complain, they don't ask, they don't burden others, they don't escalate conflict. From the outside, this looks like self-control, emotional intelligence, and even maturity. But emotional maturity is not emotional absence. Maturity is regulated access, shut shutdown. Shame-driven distance removes access entirely. So now let me map this shame leading to distance conversion across the 4 C4PC macro groups. Let's see how this same mechanism leads into different outcomes. In the case of the internal rationals, shame converts into intellectualization, into emotional abstraction, and retreating into autonomy. Their internal logic says, if I make this conceptual, it cannot touch me. So they are at risk of falling into emotional atrophy, also relational detachment, and mistaking isolation for clarity. Their exit path includes resuming emotional engagement through shared meaning, pursuing safe intellectual intimacy, and finding new low-exposure relational context. In the case of the internal emotionals, shame converts in self-erasure, in emotional withdrawal, and in quiet invisibility. Their internal logic says, if I'm not seen, I cannot be judged. They are at risk of falling into identity shrinkage, into chronic loneliness, and in an internalized self-doubt. Their exit path consists of becoming a non-evaluative emotional witness of his own experiences, and looking for environments where worth is not performance-based, and trying to pursue a slow trust restoration. In the case of the external rationals, shame converts in dominance, in emotional suppression, in control-based identity. Their internal logic says, if I'm in control, I cannot be diminished. They are at risk of falling into relational rigidity, in burnout, and inability to receive care. So their exit path consists in reframing vulnerability as an strategic resilience, and looking for competence respecting support, and pursuing controlled emotional exposure. In the case of the external emotionals, shame converts into oscillations between openness and withdrawal, and also in emotional shutdown after disappointments. Their internal logic says, if I stop caring, I cannot be hurt. They are at risk of emotional instability, of identity diffusion, and impulsive isolation. Their exit path is balancing consistency, preferring consistency over intensity, and looking for predictable emotional safety, and setting boundaries around giving. And why men rarely name shame directly? Most men don't say, I feel ashamed. They say, I'm done, I don't care, it's pointless, I don't need anyone. So shame hides behind indifference, cynicism, and detachment, because admitting shame feels like confirming it. And why this process is cross-culturally stable. Cultures differ, but shame as a regulator of social standing is universal. Different cultures emphasize honor, achievement, stoicism, duty, and success. But across cultures, men learn your value is conditional. And when value feels threatened, shame steps in. And distance becomes the safest response for men. So, how men exit shame-driven distance realistically? Shame does not dissolve through reassurance. It dissolves through non-evaluative experiences. That means being seen without judgment. That means contribution without performance pressure, and vulnerability that doesn't reduce status. Men re-engage emotionally when vulnerability does not cost dignity. So to conclude, it's important to remark that sadness seeks comfort, and while shame seeks concealment. So when shame replaces sadness, men don't cry louder, they pull away. They don't ask for help, they become distant. They don't collapse, they disappear emotionally. Understanding this changes everything, because emotional distance is not indifference. It is self-protection after exposure. When a man distances himself emotionally, it's often not because he feels nothing. It's because he feels too much risk in being seen. Shame doesn't break men. It teaches them to hide. And healing doesn't begin by forcing openness, but by restoring safety without evaluation. So I hope this live stream and video has been helpful to you. If it was like this, please give a like to this video and subscribe to the channel to support this content. Much courage, take care, and see you in the next one.